Hi, everybody. How is everyone's evening going? I don't know who all is here. It looks like we got about 6 people here so far. I don't expect this to take very long. So, if you are in chat, Rebel, this is my promise to you. You can type in my chat. I will drop the link. I will not allow anyone else to come up. I will not call you Connie, and I will address you as Rebel. That is my promise to you. Should you come up? Because you seem to express that you wanted a one-on-one conversation, not a dog pile. So it's your move. This is all your move. Because personally, I'm sick of you. I wouldn't be doing this at all were it not for the fact that you tried to act like things might be different if it were a one-on-one conversation and not a dog pile where everybody's attacking you. So I want you to put your money where your mouth is. Put up or shut up. Take a link. Come up. I'll call you Rebel. We'll have a chat. I'll ask a couple of questions, which is really what I wanted from you in the first place. You don't remember me being nice to you. You don't. I have a lot of compassion for a tough situation. But an utter lack of willingness to meet one halfway is not something I can be on board with. And that's who he is. He doesn't want people to talk about his mental health problems. Well, people are going to talk about your behavior on YouTube. You put it out on Front Street, and people are going to comment. It's the way of the world. Better that you have your tantrums behind closed doors where no one can see or hear. So, Rebel, you said one-on-one, no dog pile. The question is, will you do it? Can you do it? See, I don't really think you can. I don't think you are capable of having a quiet, reasonable, and open conversation. And perhaps that is because you're intimidated by me. I mean, I had somebody tell me that I won't say who it is, but they did, and it was a surprise. But yeah. Hey, Rosie, I'm glad to see you here tonight. How are you today? You know, Rebel, that day you played that song from The Little Mermaid, on your live stream was the closest I've ever been to liking you. And part of it is because, in a way, I identify with that wanting to be a part of the world. I remember what that's like. But I had to make it happen for myself. Nobody handed it to me. Nobody was going to hand it to me. So, once again, I'm throwing down the gauntlet with you, Rebel. You want to be treated as a man? Come up here as a man and have a civil conversation. I'm aware of this. I'm aware of this. And I'm aware of that too. I knew you wouldn't show up. I knew you wouldn't come to my live stream. I knew you wouldn't take a link. I knew you wouldn't answer my questions. Take a link! Take a link! But I knew you wouldn't come up and answer my questions because I want to ask you some things. I would love to have a dignified conversation with you about why you feel you cannot work. But then I would also call you on making a statement that you also make a statement like choose people who choose not to work. Because I was your best chance for a civil adult conversation in this community. I really was. Because as smart as Corrosive is, he was going to probably wind up insulting you in the end. But yeah, I think I will drop that link. Now I'm going to have to come in and pin it. But yeah, I would also ask you why you make a statement about people who choose not to work. But Rebel, this is my promise. If you come up here, if you take the link, it will be just me. And I will not address you as Connie as long as you are up here and being reasonable. course, you start screaming insults at me, calling me a bitch or the C word, then all bets are off. See, I thought about not going live for about 0.5 seconds, but I realized that that I had to go live, because if I didn't, you would say I bitched down and that you would have come up on my panel and I'm the one that backed off. But yeah, I feel like the rules are fair. Not calling you Connie and just us. Dum, 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 dum. Yep, of course he is. Of course he's watching. So, one of the big questions last night, and I didn't feel like paneling up last night, I just didn't, was why people are personally offended and when people get money. And I understand that, Rosie, but this whole live stream was an invitation for Rebel to come up here and have a conversation. I knew he wasn't going to, but I still had to do this. But the question was why people get pissed off when he gets donos. And I'm going to qualify that. It really doesn't upset me when somebody like Sweet or Huck returns to the fold and gives him a little money. That doesn't steam me because they know what they're getting. But if I thought he was actually suckering in another bedtime clown, and you're a coward, Rebel. You are a coward. See, you're talking to somebody who's never had a conversation with News Now Houston. You're talking to somebody who's never watched a live stream of News Now Houston. You're talking to somebody who has no real love for the First Amendment auditing movement because, well, I was part of the group that made fun of the auditors. So, and the whole Chomo thing for me is a hard ass line. No, he hasn't had a conversation with me, which is why I invited him here. But I knew you wouldn't show. I knew you were scared. I kind of thought you would be, but I had hoped that maybe you might answer a couple of little questions for me. But I wanted to have a real conversation. I think my point has been made. Well, well, well. Can't say I'm surprised. He's losing it. Is he? To the point I considered not even going live, but then I immediately realized I had to. Had to. Okay. You've proven my point. You're not interested in an actual conversation. You never were. See, you want money. You want a community full of strangers to give it to you. You'd even like to make little arrangements with people so they make room for you in their budget and give it to you on the regular. I mean, I've heard you talk. And yet you won't tell us why you won't contribute to society. Earlier today, you were talking about, well, what if just for it to start all over again 6 months later, I would get some donos, I could make amends, get some donos, but then it would start all over again 6 months later. Do you know why it would start all over again? It would be because you're just somebody people don't want to carry forever. Nobody adopted you. You're not anybody's child. See, you can't say that you're a grown ass man, that you're 34 years old and yet refuse to contribute to society and not tell us why, and yet expect us to pick up the slack. So, why? People don't like a leech on society. You know, that is the thing. That is the thing. You are a leech on society. You are a drain. What if everybody were like you, Rebel? What if everyone were like you? What if everyone refused to contribute and chose not to work? People would die. People would die, and quickly. And if everyone chose not to work, to whom would you turn to? Yeah, drain on the system, leech on society. And you're sick of hearing those words, but you are. You are. Huh. And the problem is that you're not resigning yourself to your lot in life. You look, just like I'm always pretty much going to be in the bracket where I'm going to be, you are always going to be where you're going to be. And it's time for you to make the best of it. The biggest mistake you made was making your friendships contingent upon the flow of money. Mixing money and friendship in such a way is always a terrible idea. and you know it. I'm going to tell you something about your upcoming trial that you don't want to hear. This is your only chance. This trial and what you make of what happens as a result is your only chance. Because as long as you don't have to clean the table, as long as you don't have to take responsibility, as long as you don't have to be held accountable, as long as you don't have to put your head down and do what you're told for once, because everybody has to at some point. You've just never found an authority figure that you had to for. And the word discipline is really ruffling your feathers lately. It's really getting to your psyche. Nemesis, I got to hand it to you. That was an amazing psych job you did on Rebel here. He's a case for forced sterilization. Don't piss in the gene pool. Thank you very much. But what if everyone was like you? What if everyone was like you, Connie? Why? Why do you think you are the exception to the rule? You're not. You aren't the exception. I'm going to tell you a little secret about becoming a part of the world. Becoming a part of the world is something you have to earn. It is never something that will be given to you, ever. So that's what I thought. He wouldn't take the link. I called it. I want to thank everybody for coming to my chat tonight. I realize that so a lot of people are tired of talking about him. There's still a little work to be done, though. But as long as you don't have to take responsibility, things are going to stay just the way they are. As long as you never are held accountable, you never have to answer for anything. You never have to say, yeah, I did a terrible thing and I need to make up for it without, well, what about? As long as you do those things, things are never going to change. Your life is never going to get any better. You're never going to grow as a person. Corrosive's right about your development being totally arrested. I mean, I think people forget I'm talking to a 12-year-old when I'm addressing you, mentally speaking, anyway. And that's why I just, after a few minutes, it's just going, ugh, ugh. But let me get the cat. I'll show him off. Oh, baby, baby. It's yours. He's the bestest boy. He's the sweetest kitty cat. George. My good boy. Yes. Hmm. He's my big happy boy. He's my good kitty. Hmm. He's being. Oh, Brittany, it's actually it's a cover I got for my chair. It's a fabric cover because, I have a cat, didn't want it just picking up my chair. And I thought, well, that one's kind of cute. So I got it and put it on the back of my chair. But I wanted to thank everybody for coming. It turned out pretty much the way I thought it would. I won't lie and say I'm not disappointed. Only a tiny bit, though, because I couldn't be too disappointed because there was just simply no element of surprise here. No element of surprise at all. Thank you for coming, everybody.